Hello, good morning. Good afternoon. It's already noon. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you guys are doing fine. Today we're going to be talking about what the latest update is with, legalization of the 11 million undocumented immigrants. So, as you guys know, this is going to be the third strategy that the Democrats are going to be using to actually try to legalize some undocumented people. And there's an update. Let me share my screen and let's get started. Guys, welcome to this live video. If you watch later, very welcome. Don't forget to like the page if you're watching on YouTube. Also, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And yes, drop me your comments. I'll be reading them very shortly. So, Democrats in the Senate. So this is the third time they are trying to use a technical procedure to try to include immigration provisions in the Build Back Better Act. And we have news that they want to try to pass a Build Back Better Act by before Christmas, which is very good news if it goes through. They asked some analysts and they are confident that this is going to pass Senate. Remember that the act has already passed the House of Representatives, and now it's in Senate. So we're waiting for Senate to also vote on this act. This is the act that contains the immigration provisions, and we have a 50-50 split Senate. Democrats are 50, Republicans are 50, and Kamala Harris is the tiebreaker, right? And with budget reconciliation, voting in Senate just needs to be a simple majority, which is 51. As opposed to getting 60 votes if they want to overcome a filibuster. Okay. And when they use the budget reconciliation process, then they don't have to worry about trying to overcome the filibuster with 60 votes. That would not have been possible because there's no way 10 Republicans would have joined the Democrats to allow them to pass this bill. So thankfully, we have the budget reconciliation process that just allows for 51. So hopefully, all the Democrats will be on board. Kamala Harris will be on board, and they can do this. But just this Wednesday, that was a couple of days ago, the Senate parliamentarian, she considered arguments from both the Democrat and the Republican aides on whether the immigration provisions should be included in the massive spending bill and all that. So, guys, remember that we spoke about the fact that they need to go through the process known as the bed bath. And this bed bath is what the parliamentarian will be using to decide or to determine whether a provision needs to be included in the budget reconciliation. So for any provision to be included in the budget reconciliation, it needs to follow some rules. Oh, I thought I had opened. I'm sorry. Yes, I was trying to pull up the Byrd bath. Let's just go over that very quickly, guys. I'll be reading your comments soon. Don't worry. Okay, so understanding the Byrd bath. Oh gosh, yeah. Well, I would have to stop this screen and share that. Okay, let's continue, and then once I'm done, we'll just go over what the Byrd bath is, and we'll take it from there. Okay. Yes. So again, yeah, the process, as I discussed in other videos, is that it's going to be, a parole, okay, to allow undocumented immigrants to actually work, get some sort of temporary protection from deportation, and then also work and then live here freely in the United States, for about 10 years, which is still better than nothing. And the Senate parliamentarian, again, her role is to make sure that, the Senate, they are following rules, protocols, and they are not abusing the budget reconciliation process. Okay, because there are very specific confines within which a budget reconciliation process, a budget reconciliation process can be used to pass a bill. Okay. Okay. So I think we've discussed this, the fact that they don't need 60 votes to overcome the filibuster. Let me see. Let me go down. Yeah. So again, it will provide temporary protection from deportation and work permits to undocumented immigrants who entered the U.S. prior to January 2011. And again, they have to meet certain criteria. Remember, guys, I went through the Build Better Act. I went through the text, the actual text of the bill. We shared it right here. We've read the immigration provision sections and we dissected and explained everything. So you can look for that video that goes into detail about this, about who qualifies and who doesn't. And yes, you need to have entered the US before January 2011. Okay, yeah. The argument again is that most of these people, immigrants, they are Americans in everything but just paperwork. You know, they don't have the papers to prove that they're Americans because most of them, you know, sacrificed and stepped up during the COVID. They were in essential work. They performed a lot of essential work and they kept us safe and kept our economy moving, and all of that. Okay, so let me scroll down. Let me see if there's anything more we need to talk about. They're claiming, well, the Democrats are saying this is not the last chance to get. So even if the Senate parliamentarian rules against the Build Better Act, they're still going to come back with something else. But I'm really hoping that this doesn't happen. I mean, we really need this passed if possible. And hopefully they should try to do it by, before Christmas. That would be such a beautiful Christmas gift for all these immigrants that are, have sacrificed a lot for this country. Let me see if I have the bed bath. I think this is it. Perfect. Yeah. So let me open this up. Yeah. Senator Byrd. Yeah. So the Byrd. Am I sharing my screen? I'm sorry. I thought I was. I'm sorry. I'm a little. I don't know if you guys can feel my energy. I'm very exhausted. It's been a really crazy week. So forgive me. Okay, there it is. I don't know why this flower. Okay, perfect. Right here. Okie dokes. Okay, so this is where the Byrd rule comes to play. It's named after the late Democratic senator. He was called Robert Byrd, and he was the senator of West Virginia. And basically, as I stated, the Byrd rule is there to make sure that both sides of the chamber don't abuse the budget reconciliation process in trying to pass legislation through the budget reconciliation process, just as a way to kind of bypass the filibuster. As I said, you guys know the filibuster means that a senator will stand up and then argue continuously for hours and hours unending. And to end the debate, you need to be able to get 60 votes to end that debate, a cloture. So if you don't want that happening, you can opt. If you can use the budget reconciliation process, you need just 51 votes. So that's easier because, again, Democrats don't have 60 votes. So that's why. But the Byrd rule is there to make sure that, look, you are not just trying to overcome the filibuster because you don't have votes, and that the provision actually fits into a budget reconciliation. It actually has budgetary impact. Okay. So with the Byrd rule, supporters of the proposal have to prove that the bill in question either increases revenues or decreases spending or reduces spending. So under the Byrd rule, you have to prove the following to include a provision in reconciliation. The second thing is that those changes should not be merely incidental. Okay, they should be germane to the budget. The third thing is that all the changes are within the jurisdiction of the committees outlined in the reconciliation instructions. So we have committees in committees in Congress. So sometimes you'll have the committee of ways and means, committee of judiciary committee, or they are responsible for different aspects of the rulemaking. In this case, that is the finance committee and the health, education, labor, pensions committee. So you need to be within your jurisdiction to make those rules. And then let me see. Well, let's talk about this. The proposal should not have any impact on Social Security. And then again, the provision must not increase spending or decrease revenues outside of the budget window. Yeah, I shouldn't. So these are some of the these are the considerations. You need to qualify under the Byrd rule to be able to make sure that a provision will be able to pass through budget reconciliation. And yeah, that's it. So guys, I just wanted to give you guys this update. Wednesday, they made their argument before the Senate parliamentarian. She seems to be, the woman in charge, the lady in charge. So we'll see what she says, whether the immigration provision can, be part of the Build Better Back Act. And if it's going to be passed before Christmas, that would be amazing. But some people don't think so. Some people don't think this is going to happen. Some people do think it's going to happen before Christmas. And so we just have to wait and see what the scoop is going to be. Okay, so let me read some comments and then I'll call it a day. And I'll see you guys soon. Ernest Boydu Kwashi, I'm sorry. Ernest Boydu Kwashi, thank you so much for watching. He says lawyer. Hi, Ernest. And then we have Ernest Boydu Kwashi. Filing for visit versus petition. Which one moves fast? It depends, it just depends. There are pros and cons. For example, if you're filing for a visit, you need to be currently, if you're doing it from Ghana, the consulate, I think their interviews they are currently booking at probably end of 2023, because the last time I checked, it was mid 2023 for an interview for a visit. So there's that, and sometimes if you have a wife or a spouse here, you may be denied a B2 visa because what shows that you're going to go back to your country. And then the petition, if it depends on the status of your spouse. If she's a green card holder, there's a waiting period. You have to consult the visa bulletin and see. And again, if she's a US citizen, then it's certainly faster. So there are just a number of considerations, a number of them that I may not be able to talk about here. But yes, there are things to look at, and also look at your peculiar situation for me to be able to determine which would be faster for you based on the facts. Okay. Patrick Addo says, good afternoon. Good job by bringing us the update. Thank you so much, Patrick Addo. I really appreciate it. Yes, I hope that you guys will benefit from this. And as Kwashi says, after biometrics, how many days does it take to get your EAD? I can't give you a specific number of days. Even USCIS can't give you that. It just depends on the field office, their backlog, the amount of work they have, your case, what they have to review, and if there are things they have to investigate. So it just depends. Okay. All right, guys. So if you guys need my help, my number is right there, 8027800564. I will see you guys hopefully next week. Take care. Be safe. Bye-bye.